We are learning more tonight about what led to the arrest of a Whitehouse police captain. The arrest affidavit saying officers responded to a report of a hit and run. 59-year-old Gerald Brewer was contacted by police that is, in connection to an incident reported on Saturday. Tyler police were called to South Broadway Avenue around 4:30 Saturday afternoon after a driver claimed to be the victim of a minor hit and run. The responding officer said Brewer's eyes appear to be bloodshot and glassy as he quietly explained how the crash happened. After taking a walking test, Brewer later consented to a breath test and was eventually booked into jail on a charge of DWI. He has since been placed on administrative leave and posted bond on Sunday.